The lecture hall of the Galactic University of Theoretical Sciences, suspended in low orbit over the gas giant Zerithus IV, was abuzz with quiet energy. Hundreds of alien students floated, hovered, or slithered into place as the day's most prestigious course prepared to begin, quantum multidimensional causality, taught by none other than the renowned Professor Exilthan of the Netheri Fold, a six-limbed being with a brain the size of a hovercar, engine, and ego to match. Professor Exilthan activated the holoslate with a casual wave of his limb. "Today," he intoned, his voice vibrating in layered harmonic tones, "we shall again explore the Yultha paradox, a conundrum that has baffled galactic minds for over 1,000 cycles." The holo display shimmered to life, revealing a cascade of complex equations, rotating multidimensional tensors, and flashing causality loops. It was the kind of problem that left even the best artificial intelligences requesting therapy. In the fourth row, a relatively small biped leaned forward, brown eyes focused. His name, Daniel Reyes, the lone Terran exchange student from Earth, a so-called Deathworld by galactic standards. The mere fact that a human had been accepted into the program had caused waves of disbelief and not a small amount of xenophobic muttering. Humans, after all, came from a planet teeming with radiation, predators, and enough environmental volatility to make even war-hardened species tremble. Yet here he was alive, alert, and bored. Professor Exilthan continued, "As you can see, the Yultha paradox presents an impossible feedback loop. No clear input leads to a stable outcome. Many of my colleagues have devoted centuries attempting to resolve it. Today, we shall attempt to understand why it is unsolvable." Daniel slowly raised his hand. The entire hall went silent. Tentacles paused, mid-writhe. Antennae ceased vibrating. Professor Exilthan's eyes narrowed, his three pupils dilating in disbelief. "Yes, Deathworlder Reyes?" Daniel scratched his jaw. "I think I know how to solve it." Gasps, clicks, shrieks, and telepathic pulses of alarm burst through the lecture hall. One MCool student fainted. Another accidentally discharged their venom gland. "You think you can solve a 1,000-year-old paradox during class?" the professor asked, his voice full of scorn and more than a touch of fear. Daniel stood. "Yeah. I mean, the causality loops aren't really loops. They're spirals. You're looking at them in the wrong dimensional frame." A tentacle shot up from the front row. "Absurd. We've run millions of simulations across 10 dimensions." "Exactly," Daniel said, "but not 11. Even Professor Exilthan paused. 11? There is no mathematically stable 11th causal dimension in this model." Daniel stepped forward, fingers flying over the holo-slate controls. He began modifying the equations, rotating the tensor matrices, and adjusting the temporal coefficients. The room dimmed as the projection adapted to his input. The paradox's feedback loops began to resolve first partially, then completely, until a steady waveform appeared in the center of the display. Silence fell like a vacuum. One of the floating choriths emitted a mechanical scream. He solved it. He actually solved it. Professor Exilthan stumbled back, limbs twitching erratically. "Impossible. You rewrote the causality constants." That's forbidden math." "No," Daniel replied, "it was just misunderstood. You assumed the problem followed galactic standard logic. But on Earth, we deal with chaos, everyday weather, politics, traffic. You learn to think sideways." One of the secondary professors, a crystalline entity named Glothrix, chimed in telepathically. The implications of this solution would revolutionize quantum causality, temporal mechanics, and perhaps even lead to controlled time navigation. Daniel shrugged. "Cool. Can I get the rest of the day off?" Within an hour, the story spread across the university. Within a day, It reached the Galactic Academic Council. Within a week, entire research institutions were dismantling centuries-old theories and rebuilding them based on Daniel's 11-dimensional approach. Back on campus, things changed quickly. Where once he was ignored or ridiculed, Daniel now found himself dodging interview requests from major galactic media outlets, invitations to co-author pan-galactic research papers, and dinner proposals from at least 3 different species, 2 of which reproduced via spores. But Daniel remained modest. "I just did what any human would do when faced with a puzzle. I cheated a little and refused to believe the rules were absolute." In private, Professor Exil Tharn reviewed the lecture recording for the 100th time. He couldn't deny it. Daniel's solution was not only valid, it was elegant. Terrifyingly so. He muttered to himself, what kind of species produces a 20-year-old who dismantles a millennium of work in 20 minutes? The answer was whispered throughout the galactic scientific community, Deathworlders. Epilogue. Months later, a secret meeting was held on the Central Academic Station Minerva 1. Representatives from dozens of species gathered to discuss the implications of Daniel's intellect and what it meant for the future. The general consensus? If this is what their students can do, what will happen when their scientists arrive? The room was silent. A solitary voice replied, trembling, "We better hope they stay friendly."